Hello, welcome back to another sketchbook video. This time we're on to one that I started in 2018 and I actually started dating them at this point. I will say before we get into this sketchbook is one of the worst sketchbooks that I ever bought. It's not technically a sketchbook, it's more like a jotter. The paper's just so thin and like the pencil just pierces through the paper, and I didn't actually finish this sketchbook, but I don't have any intention of finishing this book at all because it's just the worst thing ever. So thought I'd at least include it in the videos and show you through some of the drawings that I actually managed to do in this thing. So first thing, I started a tradition of drawing my persona with his name, the year, and actually like some places to find me. That URL's no longer existing, so don't follow that. That is still my Twitter, so if you want to give me a follow, please do. You'll see more of these sketches being posted live, and I implore you to like and retweet and give me some feedback because I really appreciate it. And then I was trying to do more full body practice, and then I did like a Toyama style Flux, although it didn't really come out the way I wanted it to. I was trying to draw his eyes based on Goku, I think, and then just gave him like a little blep. And then I guess I was on like a Dragon Ball Z craze at this point because I drew like a Dragon Ball Z inspired Flux wearing the Goku gi and the sort of the hanging belt and stuff, and he's charging up his power to beat a massive bad guy or something. This one I was going for like a bit of a 70s craze. I drew with like just like a 70s style, just scruffy long hair and beard. Here we have a Flux butt and it says Loftus Cheek, and he got booked. We've been watching the 2018 World Cup and England were doing quite well at the time. We were just sat in a bar, and because I'm not really into football, I just took the sketchbook along and did some drawings, and there was a player called Loftus Cheek who was on the English team, and he got sent off, I think. He got a booking, so I just put Loftus Cheek, pointed to Flux's butt, and then been booked. And then on that same day, I did I think this was like a 3 random words exercise. I had a thing at one point where I was doing like live streams where I get people to just send me like random words, and then I'd just pick 3 buzzwords out of the words that people had sent me and just make like a prompt out of it. And what came up was dirty flexible Ferrari. So I did like an Anthro Ferrari horse, and I did the dirty flexible Ferrari text in the same style as the Ferrari logo. And to show that he's flexible and he's a bit dirty, I did like scuff marks on him, and I did like a flexible yoga pose. The thing I do not like about this is the horse does not really look like a horse, it looks more like an alligator or something. That muzzle does not look right. I have come back to horses since then and I think I've improved a lot. And then just a Flux as a warm up, and then a coffee cup with a picture of a paw pad on it, just saying coffee beans, because who doesn't love some nice warm swishy beans. And then just like a derpy face. I think this was a redraw of his green cap from The Lion King. Another attempt at a full body Flux, kind of like the ones in the previous book. And then I think this is Wibble in a nice suit. I think this might have been another World Cup day. I think this was when England were either in like the quarterfinals or the semi-finals, I can't really remember. We went to a bar and Rusty dressed up like Gary Southgate, the England manager. I think some of these are just references. And then here we've got, this was maybe like meant to do an otter. And then I think when I drew this, we were out camping, going happy campers, because it was not a good camping trip. Like the trip itself was fine, but like the campsite was just kind of awful, and it was raining and wet. So that was me kind of just trying to capture that moment in a more kind of positive way. Perhaps in chests again, and another reference piece. And then I think this was where I was trying to redesign my old OC Exiled. So I drew him as he was normally, and then I was just playing around with some different ideas. Made him a bit too edgy looking though. Now I've tried making him like more like a musketeer, phantom thief sort of style. I guess I was still on the Persona 5 kick at this point. And then I think I referenced a Bowser picture. I think this might have been when I was at a fair meet. I think this was Coventry first, and I was just like sat in the corner just drawing stuff. Still wasting space as well, so we haven't got out of that habit just yet. And then I drew Mighty the Armadillo from a reference as well. This was around the time that Sonic Mania Plus had been released, and so there was a big hoo-ha about Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel. And I was already fans of those characters from like the old comics and from Knuckles Chaotix with this character in it. So I was pretty hyped for it. Frontal picture of Flux. I guess I didn't fully sort of finish this off. Again, the legs are really fucking beefy. These are Avocado from Final Space. I think they might even be Little Cato. Another full body. That one's slightly better. The legs are still thick, but a lot better than some of the other ones, even like the previous books. And then me returning to an Exiled redesign, and I think I came to the decision that I wanted to include some sort of furry element without making him just a cat like I attempted to in the past. And so I changed his hair up, and then I also made him a werewolf. So like he had two references. He had his werewolf form and his human form. Again, I liked the werewolf design. I thought that was cool, but I didn't like this redesign in the end. I think it just looked a bit too edgy and too serious. I kind of pinned him as like a serious looking character that's a bit of a goof. Well, that's got a slight edge to it. I think this just was a bit too much, so yeah, I never liked it in the end. And then we got Rusty holding up Flux doing the cat arm stretchy thing, going, oh, it's my pud. And then I was attempting to challenge myself a bit by designing a bug furry anthro character. And so I went with like, I think this is a hummingbird hawk moth. So just a species that I quite like the look of. I think we saw one when we were in France. Just some practice with expressions and action poses. And then just another attempt at that hummingbird hawk moth, although I kind of feel how that one looks out of the two. I'm not happy with the proportions on that, but like as far as design goes, I quite like it. These are all falling out. And then this was some designs for Furcation 2018, I think. I was given the task of designing a postcard for Furcation 2018. This was one of like the draft things that I came up with. The next page is some more draft ideas. So I had them with like 2 cornettos, two ice creams. And then this was the design I ended up working with, and there is a printed version of this that I drew up digitally. And then we got Flux in a jockstrap. At this point I was slightly less shy about drawing underwear and stuff, because I always used to keep that like in the back of the book and just kind of keep that a bit of a secret. And then I think at this point we were in Spain, so it was me and Rusty overlooking the view from the actual apartment that we were in, which I still think is pretty cute. Again, it's me just attempting to capture a moment when we're sort of away somewhere making a memory. These are more drawings that I did in Spain, so we've got some like action poses again. I don't know how clear that is on the camera. So this is a landscape piece of me and Rusty still in Spain, sat on the beach chilling out on some rattan chairs under a straw umbrella. I think I envisaged like a kind of sunset colour palette with this, but this was just like a rough sketch that I was doing just when I was in the moment. And then we've got another landscape piece. I think this was drawn from like my perspective of being on the beach, so I think this was my view here. But then for some reason I did Flux and Rusty there in the distance instead, so I guess I'm the camera. I think this is me trying to work on like when I draw scenes, I have a habit of just drawing some main characters and then not really filling it with anything else other than just of the landscape. And so I was trying to like add little suggestions of other people being there. We have another yoga pose and me attempting lynxes. Then we're getting back into more like Furcation stuff. This is me as a cameraman filming events and stuff. I think these were drawn during a panel. I think it was Poker Fox that was hosting it, and he was doing a drawing session, and so I was trying to reference his style based on his instructions. And I think on that same drawing panel we also got into drawing legs, so focusing on plantigrade legs and then digitigrade legs. And I guess I came back to lynxes at some point, and again wasting space. And then just some blank sheets. I think this might be the point where I gave up on this book because it is atrocious and it's one of the worst sketchbooks I've ever used. Again, I don't think it's actually a sketchbook. I think it's just a notebook with like rough paper. But that's the end of this book. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. The next book is actually my most recently finished one, and you're going to see a lot more sort of refined work, I hope, a lot more sort of progress in how my art's gone from the very beginning to being in the middle to right now to the most recent stuff. So stay tuned for them. Bye. No. Get off me. No, put your willy away. Can't have that on film. Excuse me.
It's disgusting.
Bye.